Clock In Talk, an Arsenal podcast. I am your host, Tez. You can get me at Gurner Tez. Clock In Talk account at clockn_talk, and that is ran by Tony. And how are you, buddy? Tony, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks. Tottenham have just gone out of the Champions League, so that's made my day pretty good. Not looking forward to the long old trip up to Manchester tomorrow, or today by the time most people have listened to this. But, yeah, life's all right.
Going well, mate, going well. And Addy, you join us this week. How are you, mate?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me again.
No worries, mate. MIA last week with Addy.
Yeah, man. Last week was I don't know. I thought, okay, cool. Let me have a power nap at 7. Then I'll wake up like in an hour or so, and then get ready for the podcast. But yeah, that power nap woke me up at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I don't even know what happened there.
Okay, a couple of things I've got to get off my chest early in the piece. I just want to give a shout out to Craig. I seen a tweet during the week. Craig from the Same Old Arsenal podcast. The boys over there, really good lads. So Craig, all the best with everything there, mate. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't want to speculate or anything, but hey, we're always here, buddy, if you need a chat or anything, mate. I don't care. I have to also get off my chest the little snitch cunt that fucking dobbed us into YouTube. You can go and fuck yourself. I couldn't believe it. It was something to do with a copyright thing for 2 years ago. I had some music playing in the background and some cunt must have dobbed me in or something, and I thought, fucking hell. So then I threw out a tweet, and then I get a message off Twitter to say that I called someone a cunt. So I'm like, oh, fuck. Me can't fucking win, can he? Like, crying out loud. So you can go and fuck yourself too. That's about all I've got there, just to clear that up. I'm just changing the format of the podcast a little bit. Everything is still going to... We're always going to cover everything. However, I'm just not going to go into all the little details. I'm just trying and limit it back to an hour and a half as opposed to getting out to 2.5 hours. And YouTube is a real cunt upload too when it's over 2 hours. So that is also another factor. But anyway, look, we'll always get your questions, and everything will pretty much stay the same. We're just going to try and shorten it a little bit. So, Arsenal v West Ham is the podcast we're doing here at the moment. Look, it ended up at a 1-0. It seems fucking weird, Tony, when I'm usually we record the next day, and since I've been sick and stuff, it's dragging out a couple of days, and it's interesting. I get to see a lot of other people's different views, and you know, you'd see different commentators' views and Twitter and everything, where before we never really had that.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying for me because I disagree with absolutely everyone's opinion at all time, seemingly. So I have to read sort of 2 or 3 days of people being wrong, in my opinion. And then... yeah, I get to voice my say
and
after.
You get to come on, yeah.
Yeah, and then last week, obviously, you sacked me, but then you realised the numbers were poor, so I've been dragged back in. Don't think I forgot. But when I had a little listen, I disagreed with a load of opinions then as well. So, but yeah, now you've got your numbers guy back. Let's hope this does more than 5 years, eh?
Numbers guy. Okay, so, look, there wasn't much to talk about in this game, really. Highlights are probably going to be very short. Lacazette, he got one in the 78th minute, assisted by Ozil. There's a couple of substitute you can talk about, I suppose. Lacazette, Eddie... 59th minute, Nelson the 69th minute, and Pepe and Bellerin off for Ozil. Bellerin and Ozil substitution there. Yellow cards, there was the one yellow card was Socrates, and the man of the match, I think it was Leno, but I could be wrong because it is a couple of days. So anyway, on the stats I've got open here, it's Leno, but I don't recall seeing the official man of the match, Tony. So Anyway, look, I'll get your thoughts on the whole game, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, look, we didn't play very well. It's the first time in ages that I can think coming out of the ground thinking we really didn't deserve that. And I went, obviously I spoke to people in the ground. I went to the pub after for a couple of hours to watch the Tottenham-Burnley game. And everyone was sort of saying the same thing. It feels nice to have a win that we don't necessarily deserve. We weren't very good as a whole. They had better chances. I mean, I don't know how they didn't score at least 2 or 3. Not much in the way of attacking. I think we only had 2 shots on target. There was a few things Arteta done really pleased me. Eddie wasn't working, and he made the change pretty early on. He didn't hang around too long. Probably not the sub I would have made, but obviously it worked, so fair play to him. Good league debut for Murray. Only really seemed to be challenged with Antonio running in behind, and let's be honest, I don't think there's a defender in the league that can deal with Antonio running in behind. I was actually, one of my friends is a West Ham fan, and I was in the pub with him on Saturday night, and we're saying like he just can't. The problem with Antonio is he's not very good at football, but athletically he's probably one of the best in the Premier League. So it wasn't a surprise to see us struggle a little bit there. But yeah, beyond that, obviously the goal was semi-controversial. I pretty much knew from my seat it wasn't offside. I was actually shocked when I saw how close it was. I saw the flag go up and just knew it was wrong. And then when I saw the drawings on the line, I was a bit like, okay, maybe I was a bit overconfident. And then the other thing is how Lacazette didn't get a penalty. And I don't know. I'd actually love to hear the opinion of someone who doesn't think that was a penalty, because I don't even like. Usually, you try and play devil's advocate and you go, I can see why they didn't give it, but I think it was. I can't see why they didn't give it. But actually, this is the time where we call for the referee or the linesman or the VAR to come and give reasons why, because I can't even dream one up. I can't think of a single reason why he's gone, no, I don't think that's enough for a penalty. You can understand with a ref, you might not have seen it. But I mean, we all saw it in the ground. But you can understand. But with the VAR, like, what? Why hasn't he given it? I actually can't think of a reason.
I got no. I'm like you, mate. And I was sitting there thinking, geez, maybe I'm being biased. I don't know. Like, I'd love to hear someone else's thoughts. A West Ham fan would probably argue that it was the correct call. But I don't know.
The only thing I would say is I think it started outside the box. So if they were going to give it, or if they were going to get anything, it would have been a free kick from outside the box.
If it carries on into the area, it doesn't matter. It's where the foul ends, not starts.
Is that the rule, Tony?
They're not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they could, you're right. If it had stopped outside the area, VAR couldn't have intervened because their remit is to give penalties unless they were going to send him off, which obviously it was never a sending off. But if a foul continues, the free kick is given where it's most advantageous to the people that are being fouled. So if the foul happens outside the area and continues into the area, then obviously you're still being fouled in the area, so it's still a penalty.
Okay, so it's not where it starts, it's
Okay.
where it finishes. That's what you're saying.
No.
Yeah. Well, I think they fucked that up a lot of times on that VAR because I thought it was the other way around, and I often think, fuck, like, and it might have even been against us at times, and I think, well, that was outside of the box, and you're given a penalty. I've seen that a few times this season. Okay, Addy, your thoughts on the match, mate?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't the greatest of matches, I would say, but for me, us getting the win, we'll take it, and then we just move on from there. Obviously, I think we tend to struggle against really athletic forwards, similar to when Arsenal played Newcastle and Maximin. We really struggled with him, and then I think Antonio is not as skillful, but he's of that athletic build and of that like powerful build that he's really willing to run through a wall and barge you and run at you. I think we typically struggle against those type of players. And obviously, for all the mistakes Leno has made, I don't think he's made that many this season, but he has made mistakes. But one thing that I could say, for me already, he's the player of the season, and he has saved us like a lot of times. Like some people will say, Antonio's header was straight at him, but no. Some of the saves that he's made this season have been ridiculous, and that Antonio save from the header, him going in the opposite direction for it, and the reflexes that he has, like, ridiculous. And I think he's only second to Dubravka in saves, which from my view is good, but again, bad that he has to face that many shots on his goal. More of the negative side of it, because you don't see any of the other top 6 goalkeepers in the top 10 of that list.
Can I start in about that save before you move on to the next point?
Yeah.
Do you think it was class? At the time, my first reaction was like, worldy save, but Antonio shouldn't give him a chance to save it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then I saw it back, and where the header went, I'd probably be quite disappointed if he didn't save it.
So you have to reckon that one, anything that goes back across goal, because when he was moving,
I don't think it did. That's what I said initially. I thought it did, and it got a very strong arm, but I think in reality, I think it went in the middle of the goal. Like
no. So the header was down the middle. The header wasn't in the corners or anything, but it was because from what I was seeing, that he was moving across. So to get his hand up and the speed of the header, it wasn't like a looping header. It was like a bam direct header. So for him to get his hand up that quickly, which is why
it's a very strong hand, and you've got to give him credit for that. But I think most people. And look, this is just my opinion. I think if he gets a hand to that and it goes through him and into the goal, we're probably criticising him.
Oh, that would be harsh. For me, that would be harsh. That would be harsh.
Yeah, as I said, I think I just think it's one of them that for me it goes down as good save, but probably be disappointed if it's going in that spot and goes in. But as I said, I don't think Antonio should have given him a chance.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Which is.
I just want to. Yeah. Look, I'm here. I just butt in quickly. I'm hearing you boys, and because you're talking about Leno, he was the man of the match. When you open apps, some apps are different. Who still might add it different, but he was the official man of the match. And you talk about Antonio, should he have had that shot? Well. You kind of look at it and, well, who's at fault here? Because you look at the defenders and, we kept a clean sheet. And this is the problem with Arsenal that we've had this season is we're a bit of a mess when it comes to defence. And I agree with what Tony said in his opening statement is how they didn't get 2 or 3 it goes down to Leno for me.
Yeah, no, totally. And... obviously, we can't defend like that against any of the bigger teams because we'll get punished. Any team that has a proper striker will get punished. But I think we just have to take it. We've won the match, not in the best way, but we've won it, and we just need to move on from here. Arteta needs to build on this, and then we just need to move forward from my point of view. But yeah.
Okay. I just want to talk about a couple of players, Tony. So I discussed just a minute ago about their defenders and things, but if you actually look at how Arteta's set up, and he's teaching these blokes how he wants them to defend, you'll see Granit slip into a left back position. You'll see Saka come up the left wing. You'll also see Socrates. He came in the centre a little bit, and basically at times we're playing probably 5 at the top, 5 at the front, and then you've got, and that's where I think it's a bit of blame on. I don't think Granit was real good good on, when was it, a couple of days ago? Fuck, it throws me that it was 3 or 4 days ago. And Ceballos, he's probably, I don't think he had a really good game either, Tony.
Yeah, it was surprising because everyone around me in the ground was, I don't want to say moaning about Ceballos, but didn't think he had a good game, including me. And then, as I said, I went in the pub after, and I was in the pub 200 yards from the ground, so it's full of Arsenal fans. And the same thing, everyone, Ceballos wasn't the best today. And then looked online, and everyone was saying how great he was. And I was a bit like, really? And then I think they highlighted how good he was on Match of the Day, and you're looking on Twitter, and I'm looking in the group chats, and everyone's saying how good he was, and you get these stats about his defensive numbers. And I was saying to people, I thought, I did think he was quite good defensively. I just felt like he gave the ball away loads. And I've seen loads of stats that say he had the most touches and he had the most tackles or recoveries, I think it was. I've not seen any. I'd like to know, just because maybe I remember it wrong, and maybe everyone was watching it wrong at the time. But I just seem to remember him giving the ball away untold amount of times, and I'd like to actually see that number.
Jules 1 is 8, clearances 3, tackles attempted 5, tackles succeeded 2.
Yeah, I just, as I said,
recoveries 4.
Numbers are neither here nor there for me. I just want to know how many times he gave the fucking ball away.
Yeah.
But even it got to a point that I went, as I said, I was in the pub watching the Tottenham game with one of my mates that was also at the game, and then obviously we went our separate ways. And he texted me literally about 45 minutes after I'd left, saying Arsenal's poll is between Leno and Ceballos, like the official Arsenal poll. It's between Leno and Ceballos. He's like, is someone on drugs? That was actually his text. And then, as I said, I've seen most people have given it to Ceballos, and I was a bit like, look, I don't think he was terrible, but I don't really get where people are getting that. And when Craig done the ratings, he didn't put his name on it, and I messaged in the group chat saying who done the ratings, because I wanted to, because they put Ceballos quite low as well, and I wanted to speak about that. And Craig went, oh yeah, it was me, and maybe knowing that I usually criticise him, said, I think Ceballos was a bit low. And I was saying, no, I messaged because I agree with you, but no one else seems to.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and that's why
let's get back and watch some highlights or something, and Ceballos looked excellent. So.
Well, that's why I brought it up, because, I thought Pablo had a good debut, in the Premier League, I suppose. Luiz, he played well. I thought our whole defence was well. But when you're using them two midfielders to drop back, that's where I thought that our weakness was.
I think that if Xhaka had those numbers that Ceballos had, then everyone would have said, you know what, Xhaka had a good game. I think it's the notion of what Ceballos is in the team for. Why is he there? Is to bang, get the ball forward, break the lines, get the ball into Ozil, get the ball into Aubameyang, get the ball into our attacking players, and be that link between the defence and the attacking four, let's say. But then the figures his numbers today were more, okay, he's doing the recoveries, he's doing the tackles, he's doing the interceptions, he's doing everything that you would think, okay, yeah, that's more Granit Xhaka's role. But the more attacking things and him like linking up play and creating chances, I think that was what was missing from his game. So people who naturally think, okay, cool, yeah, he's an attacking player, he should be creative and making stuff happen. People are thinking, he didn't do that today, so he had a bad game or he wasn't as good. But whereas, obviously, his whole facet of his game wasn't as great, but that defensive side that we saw from him was actually really good. And obviously, if we drew the game 0-0, then people would be like, yeah, Ceballos really didn't actually help towards the attack or didn't really. But then because it was bang 1-0, right, you can actually, which is why I think Match of the Day raved about him. And to be fair, quite a few stats or quite a few few pundits and websites are giving him like 8 out of 10s and 7 out of 10s. It's because that defensive side of the game was really good from him. So
I agree with a 7. Like, I'm not saying he was terrible.
He wasn't terrible. No, let's get this.
Yeah.
Do you know what was also like? And I don't know if it was seen on TV. I don't know what angles people had and whatnot. The whole first half, West Ham didn't have a clue what to do with Ozil because Pepe was hugging the touchline and Ozil was just inside him. And when Cresswell came in, Pepe was free. If Rice dropped, then our midfield had all the time in the world. They didn't know what they didn't know if they were coming or going. And I think we got the ball to Ozil about 2 times in the whole half. And it was just like, do you know when you're sitting there and you're thinking, he is in such a dangerous position, just get him the ball, and we couldn't. Yeah. It was so fucking frustrating. Like you just stand there thinking, if he gets the ball, we're going to be in. Like, and this is constant. It's not a one-off.
Yeah.
And just like, and then as I said, I felt like Danny gave the ball away loads.
Yeah.
Not seeing the numbers. And when that's happening, and you think that if that one pass is made, we're going to be like running straight at their defence. It's frustrating. As I said, defensively, I think he was fine, and I don't think I would give him probably a 7, maybe a 6.5 in that sort of range. But when I've seen people like, he had a masterclass 9 out of 10, and I'm thinking like,
no.
Burnley was between a 9 and a 10 at home. I don't know if anyone remembers that game, but this was just for me like a average-ish game. Like done one half of the game well, the other not so well.
Okay, I want to move on, boys. Eddie, Tony?
Yeah.
Yep. Thoughts on his performance? Now, I don't want to destroy this kid because I like this kid. But last game, it's inconsistencies in his games. He's been dropped for Lacazette, we can see that. But I'm trying not to fucking piss off the Eddie fans here. But I don't think he had a great game. I could understand why he was substitute. However, where do we see Eddie going forward?
Yeah, look, I think it was probably his worst first team game for us. It happens. As I said, I was in the pub with a West Ham fan who was also at the game, but is a West Ham season ticket holder, and he said, to be fair, their defenders aren't the best, but they're both athletic, and that was the problem. That Eddie is also an athletic type, and they were just bigger and stronger. But yeah, it wasn't his best. To be honest, I think we had a chance in the first half where Ozil stole it off him. Personally, and I'm surprised in Mez. I would have thought Mez would have left it to him, and I think he should have done. But no, beyond that, wasn't really in the game. And I think it also looked slightly harsh on him because when Lacazette came on, however long it was, half hour or so, it's the best, and not just because he scored, it's the best Lacazette's played in about 6 months. And that always makes it look, do you know when someone's had a poor game, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, and then someone else comes on who is much better, it makes it look like a stupid decision. But obviously that was the Lacazette of not the Lacazette of the last 3 or 4 months. But Eddie will come again. He's young. He's allowed bad games. Everyone's allowed bad games. Don't think he particularly done much wrong. Just was quiet and just like I can't say I gave the ball away all the time or missed chances or didn't hold it up well enough. Just really ineffectual. But some games are not going to suit him, and I think he is going to struggle a bit against teams that play a low block because there's not that space in behind, or when the ball does get into the cross, there's 6 or 7 people there, and if it falls to him, it falls to him. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I don't think it's his best game. I think it's his worst game, but I don't think there's anything to criticise him over either.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
For me, the hardest one so far. Leno 3. Even as I said, I don't think any of the saves were sort of worldies, but he made enough of them, and as I said, they should have scored 3 or 4, and then when they didn't, you kind of have to look at the keeper. Although, I mean, one of them, Antonio's cutback's nothing to do with him. When Antonio puts it wide from the corner, I'm not even sure he managed to do it.
Oh man, I saw that.
Yeah, I thought I originally at the time from the ground before the replay, I thought their head had been knocked down and Antonio was outside of the posts and missed it. And then when I saw it again, I was like, how have you even managed that? Leno done really well coming out at Haller's feet early on. Haller was through 1-on-1, and Leno got the touch, and we should have got a goal kick as well, and the ref gave a corner. So I'll give Leno 3. Yeah, 2 Lacazette. As I said, I think is the best he's played in ages and got the winner. And the amount of times I've said Aubameyang's been shit and got a winning goal, and given in, and I've said, you've got to rate him for that. He's there to score goals. So I'll give Leno Lacazette 2, even though he only played half hour or whatever it was. 1. I'm torn between Ozil, because he didn't do anything, but he was picking up such dangerous positions and the ball didn't come to him. And can you blame him for that? He was doing things that are really well and they won't be noticed. And then the other one I'm torn between is Socrates, who again didn't do anything brilliant, but nothing really came down their left at all. And he was playing out of position. He tried hard. There was no real trouble down that side. No chances came down that side really. And he tried. I don't know. Can I go both? Can I have half a point each? Didn't Schwinn do that once?
I'll fence it up. Yeah, go on, man.
I don't really want to give it to
No, you can't. You got to give one to someone.
you.
We're going to go, half a point for you and half a point for you. No, don't worry about it.
Fuck off. You cunts done it before.
Fucking 1 point. 1 point for some cunt. Hurry up.
Man, Ozil.
Okay, Socrates. Go, Addy.
To be fair, yeah, me 3 Leno. I think again he did his job and he did his job well. I'll give him a 3. 2.
Do you agree that this is one of the hardest ones we've had to do?
It is because look, we didn't concede. The West Ham troubled us. I think our defence played well. That's the thing. I think our defence played well, even though they had 16 attempts. Did they really trouble us?
This is why. Sorry to cut you up, but this is why I hate stats like attempts, because for me, their second best chance, bar in the corner, was the one where Antonio's cut it back and it's gone out for a throw on. Like that is never. It doesn't register on XG if people care about that. It's not a shot on target. It's not a shot off target. So in the stats, that never goes down. But for me, that is a chance you should be scoring 90 to 95% of the time.
Mm. Yeah, no, it is a hard one. You know what? I'm gonna give 2 to Pablo Mari. I think he got a true taste of the English Premier League, and who better not to get it from West Ham as well. So I'll give him a 2, and then I'll give the 1 to Lacazette for grabbing the goal. But it's a hard one, I would say. We didn't have.
Who was your one again? Who was your one?
Lacazette.
Lacazette. Okay. Yeah, right.
Lacazette.
Okay. Well, Leno. Yeah, just going through my notes from the game. Yeah, Leno obviously. Yep. As all you boys said, and everybody type of agreed, he was the man of the match. There's sometimes mowing his lawn. How fucking rude. 2. Who have I got here? Lacazette. And look, as Tony touched on, when you get the winning goal and you win a game 1-0, it's kind of hard to say no, you can't give it to the bloke who scored the goal. And Pablo, I thought, great debut in the Premier League. I know fuck all about him, so it makes it. I don't know what he used to play like or what but I like what I saw. Is he a leader or like was he? Does anyone know much of him? Where he used to play and things, or like did he organise that back line a bit or what?
I think at Flamengo they rated him highly, and Jorge Jesus that he's really like molded him into a centre back that plays with a high line and pressing early. And I think him and David Luiz, I think they will complement each other because they're similar type of players who they're like centre backs that actually want to play with the ball at their feet, whether they're clipping it long, whether they're clipping it back. I think they are leaders, and I think he is that centre back that could be dominant for us in the air. He made quite a few clearances in the match. So to be fair, I do think so. But I think how early will he try and show himself as a leader? I don't know, but I do think he has those attributes to be a leader within the back line.
Yeah, I don't know. You might have seen it at the ground, Tony, but on the TV it looked like he took Saka under his wing a little bit and was just guiding him a little bit and just lots of talking. And I thought, well, he's only just come into the team, so that's what I was getting. But I don't know. Yeah. Okay, you want to get on to some questions, Tony? I think that's about it. We've got nothing else, have we?
Not that I can think of. No other incidents to discuss.
I'm just having a quick look. No, nothing there. Yeah, okay. Get on to some questions. You can get them at @clockend_talk on Twitter, and they usually come up after the game. Sometimes we'll record a couple of days after the game, but that's just life now. Righto, Tony.
Oh, am I reading them?
Oh, sorry, I can read them.
You could have pre-warned me. I don't mind reading them, but
I'll get them up.
I'll do it. It's fine. I just would have liked to know I was doing them.
I just thought you said you were. Thought a man, when a man says he is, get onto this shit.
And when did I say that?
Last week, didn't you? The week before.
I wasn't on last week. You sacked me. Are you getting me confused with Aaron?
Oh, maybe it was. So I've got him here. Anyway. FPL Canada, start from the top. Our midfield is badly lacking a solid ball winner, Torreira. Oh, Torreira out. I want to touch on that. So I'm glad he brought it up. Even when he's there, I have my doubts. He's top notch. Is that our most important position to upgrade for the betterment of the team? News out during the week, Tony's out for 7-8 weeks.
Yeah, they reckon the season, which is 8 to 10, I think they said.
Yeah, okay.
I think Arteta said we might see him. I think Arteta said we might see him, but obviously if it is full 8 to 10, then we definitely won't see him.
You've also got to factor in getting back to match fitness and factor in that he wasn't starting anyway, and you think it's going to be, unless they're dead rubbers, if it is sort of anything around 8 weeks, then he's going to struggle.
Yeah.
I don't see him coming. If he's fit for, let's say, an FA Cup final, he's not rushing. I don't think he's playing. If he's back, he's not playing.
No, I mean, it's not like Kane with Tottenham last year where they got to the final without him and then he was fit and you knew he was going to start. Torreira's... And look, that's not even taking the piss out of Tottenham, because I'd imagine we'd do the same with Aubameyang. Yeah. But Torreira isn't that guy. But...
okay, question
on to the
midfield.
question.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I've said this on here before, and I said it to my mate at half time the other day. I think playing in midfield for Arsenal is impossible at the moment. It's because Granit gravitates towards the left to cover Saka, so Saka can attack. So it's literally a midfield one, and whoever it was, whether it was Torreira or Ceballos, that's what my mate come up to me at half time the other day and said, fucking Ceballos was shit in the first half, and I was like, well, yeah, I kind of agree with you, but I just think it's an impossible task. We're literally playing a midfield one, and because you're playing a 10 and then a auxiliary left of what's a false free, I guess. And then you've just got Ceballos or whoever it is in the middle. I don't know who the ideal person to do that job is, and look, people may say Thomas Partey because he can do a bit of everything. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he can pass the ball. But I don't think that one man. I don't know. It's weird because it's working, but I can't identify any player that could do that. I mean, you look at this team at the moment and you think, you wouldn't put Ramsey in that position. You wouldn't put, I don't know who you would put ideally in that position.
I don't know. It's a hard position, and it's. I'm not going to say Arteta's tactics are wrong, because look, we lost 2 games under him, drawn about 5 or something, and and won a couple. So for me, the plan is going well, but it's more the players we've got. I don't know whether that suits him, which I don't mind, because we harped on about when Pep took over at City, Tony, and we said, like with Emery, at least Pep had a plan, like you knew what his plan was, even though his players weren't going to fit that mould. Where I can see Arteta doing exactly the same. This is my plan, boys. If you don't fit Tugler, you'll be sold in the summer, because I'll get the players that I need to do that.
Yeah, I don't think that's what he's doing. I think he's playing with the players he's got. I don't think, because like with this left back situation where obviously Saka's not naturally a left back, so we've got Granit half covering. I don't think that will be the case all the time, because I think he knows that playing a midfield one essentially is verging on suicidal. I'll be fucking amazed if we do that. If we do that tomorrow against City, they'll score 5 because we just won't ever get the ball.
So you think when Tierney's back, he won't be doing that?
Well, yeah, he won't be bombing on the way Saka is, and that's not criticism of anyone. It's just different style of play. That's what I mean. So I don't know. Like, I think you look at this team currently, and there's sort of no point going, oh, well, I'd put someone in this position, because I think Arteta's being very clever in playing to what he has, and there's a lot to be said. If your teams are that adaptable, look at Mourinho, lauded as a world class coach, won the Champions League. What is it, 3 times? Has a couple of injuries, and look, again, I'm not taking piss out of Tottenham. They're bad injuries, but he's basically just gone, oh, fuck it, we ain't got 2 players, I might as well give up. That's what it looks like when you watch them. Whereas Arteta's gone, oh, well, we haven't really got any left back, so we'll put this kid in at left back, but we'll make it as secure as possible for him by giving him a midfielder that protects him. And then we may be a little light in midfield, but that's okay. Ozil can drop deep, and these people can tuck in. So he's adapted to what he's got. And for me, that's a sign of not only a good coach, a very mature coach, which is probably not what most of us expected, being, what's he had as a manager now, 12 games?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I see where you're coming from. But you look at the way City play, and they do a similar thing when they attack.
No, but us is at all times. We literally have one man in central midfield at all times. We're literally playing a midfield one.
Yeah. I hear what you say. Yeah, look, I get where you're coming from. I don't agree with you, so. When I say I don't agree, I shouldn't just say I don't agree with you. I do agree with you to a certain extent. I just don't know whether Arteta, I think this is his tactics, whether regardless of what players he's got in that position at the moment.
Yeah.
So you think when Tierney's back that Granit fills in as an auxiliary left back and Tierney bombs on the way Saka is?
I think so, yeah. And I think he wants them left wing backs going forward.
If he's going to do that, Tierney will get him back in the team.
No. I see. That's why I disagree. I do agree with Ted. I think that when Tierney comes in, and once Bellerin or whoever our right back's going to be fit, I feel that right back will slot into the centre midfield and tuck in, similar to how we saw Ainsley Maitland-Niles do it in first 2 or 3 games. I think that's. I think it's a bit of both. I think it's
the
that's his
issue
plan.
With Tierney coming back in is, at the moment our whole game plan is pretty much to isolate Saka one-on-one, and you've got a winger against usually a midfielder, because their defender goes with Aubameyang, and Saka's obviously naturally by nature a tricky winger that can beat men. Tierney, his delivery is fantastic. He ain't beating no one, so there is absolutely no point isolating him one-on-one, because he could be 5-on-1. If he's the space to deliver the ball, he's going to deliver it, and if there ain't, he's going to go backwards. That's why I don't think there's a chance in hell we play like that with Tierney. It'd be a complete waste.
No,
I think it depends on. I think it's the way we're using Aubameyang. Let's think up top. Yeah. Like Aubameyang is playing left wing position. He should be a centre forward. I think, and he tucks into the centre forward position, like he goes towards goal and he makes his runs. And you need somebody to get that ball into, whether you've got Eddie up there, I wouldn't say Lacazette because he would drop back, you need, and then you've got Pepe on the other side, so you need someone crossing that ball. And when Tierney's playing, he's running up that left wing. He's cutting that ball across goal, and then you need somebody slotting back into that left back position.
I'm not saying Tierney isn't going to cross the halfway line. I'm just saying we won't gear a whole game to getting him one-on-one with someone, which is what we're doing at the moment, because it is a waste of time. If he's got space to deliver the ball, as I said, it doesn't matter if there's 10 people around him. He's either going to have space to deliver it or not. He ain't going to beat anyone. So having a whole game plan where getting to isolate him one-on-one is an absolute waste of time. And look, I'm not criticising Tierney. I'm a huge Tierney fan, but you're not going to get him running at people. He's not what he does.
Okay. Okay, what was the next question?
You want me to do them? I've got them up now.
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
MAA Gunner, do you think the away goal rule is unfair? We had 90 minutes to score away goals, but Olympiacos had 120. In my opinion, the rule shouldn't count from extra time.
For me, I think it's fair. I get where he's coming from. It's unfair because we bowed out of Europa League, but if the shoe was on the other foot, he'd be saying, I like the away goal because it's in our favour. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Well, I mean, you get the extra 30 minutes at home, which is obviously perceived to be an advantage. Not because we went out. I don't like the rule anyway. It was made to stop teams parking the bus, but it hasn't, because now it's the other way around. Now 0-0 at home is a good result because you score one goal away and the other team needs to get two. So I don't think it helped at all. And I think it's weird because they had other things like, I don't know if you people remember, like golden goal and silver goal and a few other things that are ABBA penalties that they tried and they didn't work, so they got rid of them. And they bring the away goals in. It's never worked, but they've just decided they wanted to keep it. And I don't know why that's the one that's stuck when so many other things have been scrapped after 6 months, a year, 2 years.
When did that rule come in?
Away goals has been ages, years.
Well, I was thinking, was it after Mourinho with Porto? Was that because he was parking the bus back then?
I think it was before. It was before then.
Yeah.
But then I think I was watching on Bein Sport. Arsene Wenger was on it, and Tony, the same point that you just made now. That's what Arsene Wenger was saying. I think he says that it's not needed anymore. So obviously him at UEFA, I don't know whether he's gonna raise that there, but he agrees that he feels that it's unfair, and he feels that it's not actually needed anymore. So it could potentially get scrapped in the near future. Whether it may happen, I don't know. But we've seen Arsene talk about certain things, and obviously I know he's been discussing the offside law, and obviously that's a little bit controversial. But we'll see what. I think that there might be traction in it being taken or removed in the near future.
The League Cup have removed it now. In the the semis and the 2 legs, they always have been. And I know this year they definitely did. Last year was the first year they did it, where there's no such thing as away goals in the League Cup. So hopefully it's going to. And it's not. I don't think it's unfair because, as I said, if you get the extra half hour, you get it at home. So that's obviously. But I just don't think the rules fit for purpose.
No.
MW Gunner says, how good was Mari? Obviously, we've covered that. Why did it take Guendouzi one game out to come back into the squad, but it's been almost 2 months since Ainsley has started?
Can I go at this one?
Yeah.
So obviously, I think Guendouzi's one. I think was highlighted that I think his behaviour at certain times. Edu had to speak with him, and Arteta had to speak with him, and I think it was more on his professionalism. And I think there was one incident at training, so he took him out, and he's come back and he's played. I think with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, from what I was reading with, I think Ornstein touched on this, that he's spoken to Arteta and said no, he wants to play in midfield, that he doesn't want to be a right back. But then you've got Arteta looking at his captain playing at left wing when he's a striker, but actually working for the team and playing for the team and putting in the shift and not saying to Arteta, "Oh, Arteta, I'm a striker. Play me as striker," but filling in at left wing and to be fair, doing a good job at left wing and adapting to the tactical part of the game that Arteta has implemented for him in this formation. So then I think from what Ornstein was saying, that Arteta was like a little bit angry that, like, instead of you to just fight and work in that position, you're more concerned about yourself in playing in a position that would you get game time there? Maybe not. But then when we are down and the chips are down and we need someone to fall into right back, that's the time you want to come to him and say, no, you don't want to play right back. You want to go centre midfield. So that's where Ornstein was saying that Arteta is actually a little bit angry that you should be putting your all for the team, which is why he was saying, oh, he should fight every day and show that he wants to play for the team, and then he'll come back into the squad. But then at the moment he's just not showing that. And to be fair, he needs to look at senior players in the team and see the work that they're putting in. Cool, and look at the captain. He's not playing in his preferred position, but he's playing there and he's giving 100% there.
The only thing I would say about that is that I read them Ornstein quotes, and usually he's very sure. So this has happened, and in that article, it says a few times, "I'm not saying this is true. This is just the whispers I've heard," and or something along those lines. And it's what everyone's guessed at, and it's probably what I would guess at. But I'm just not taking that as like gospel because, as I said, it's Ornstein's usually very, very certain, and this he wasn't. So I don't know if he's just gone the logical route and then put it out there, and people are believing it because it's Ornstein. But if you do read the full quotes, he's very non-committal.
Yeah. But then it's like, what other reasons could it be? Okay.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That is the logical reason. And I said that's what I would have said. So I'm not saying anyone's wrong, but Ornstein is like, this is happening. Or, you know what I mean? This is what is going on. Whereas this time he's like, well, I'm not sure. Someone might have said it, and this is the impression I get. There's no, like, he couldn't be pulled up on it. Do you know? But usually you could say to him, you said this, and he's like, yeah, now you couldn't. He said it in such a way that if you said to him, oh, you said this, he would say, oh, no, never. Like, it was just what I heard.
True, but but even listening to just from what Arteta said, basically, Ainsley Maitland-Niles isn't given 100% in training.
Yeah, I just wonder at what point do you kind of not bite the bullet? I don't know what the term is, but it's clear we're a worse team with Socrates at right back. He can't go forward. He's also terrible covering at the back post. I think he's so used to being in a central defender's position that people get behind him all the time. Like, even the Olympiacos goal is him sleeping at the back post. West Ham had one the other day where Reece actually nipped in and cut it out. He's obviously at right wing. So at what point do you go that actually, look, Ainsley, whatever's happened, but it's actually being detrimental to our team now? Like, or do you say to him, look, we need you at right back. This solution we have at the moment isn't working. We need you. And if he says, look, Gaffer, I don't want to play there, throw him under the bus. I'm not here to defend Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Make it public. Say, look, we wanted him. We needed him to play. He's told me he doesn't want to. So from now on, he's not on the bench. He's gone in the summer. Like, do you know what I mean? Just make it clear. But I'd say the first step is like, fucking put your arm around him. And maybe he's done that. But at the moment, I just wonder where we stop making our team worse to prove a point.
Yeah.
Next question is MWA Gunner. Do you think third place is up for grabs? Leicester only have 50 points. I'm not sure if this was before yesterday's game. And have played the same number of games as us. As I'm writing, they've been really poor since the turn of the year. I'll just jump in first. If they wouldn't have won yesterday, I would have said they're probably catchable. I think it's not that we're not going to get 53 points or whatever it is, but I think they're on a run of winning 1 in 10. And obviously football confidence breeds confidence, and now they've won a game, especially if they had scratched a 1-0 win and they'd have got just that dodgy penalty and it'd have been 1-0, then I think there'd have been half an argument. But I think a 4-0 win, they're going to be. I think they'll probably got enough to get through it now.
Yeah.
Who's this? Leicester.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they've only got Chelsea to go. And they've got us, obviously.
You got Tottenham as well.
Oh, they got Tottenham, huh?
Have they? I think I can't remember.
No, they
playing
don't.
Tottenham at home.
No. Chelsea, Arsenal, and you could say Everton is a tough game. These are 3 tough games there. Everton at home. Do we call that? Oh, yeah, sorry, Tottenham. Tottenham, yes, at home. Tottenham at home. And Manchester United. Fuck. And Manchester United.
Yeah.
They have a couple of tough games.
Yeah. I think they've banked. I think they've banked a lot of good points from the start of the season, which would just push them over the edge where anyone could really challenge them. I don't think they're catchable.
Well, they dropped 12 points in them 4 games. I think they are catchable.
But then I think every other team will then not be needed to drop points. But then obviously Man United, us, we've got huge games: Wolves, Leicester, Liverpool, obviously Man City tomorrow. We've got Tottenham as well. That's 5 big games where we're gonna have to win all of them.
I don't know if they're catchable for Arsenal. If that was the question, catchable for us.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, I agree with that. I don't think they're catchable for us. I think the rest of the pack can maybe I'd probably say that they're going to finish in the top 4. If you had a gun to my head and said that to choose either way, I'd probably say they were going to do it. But I wouldn't at all be surprised. Oh my god, I'm watching the highlights from their game the other day. What the fuck Reina was doing for their first goal, I'll never know.
Manchester United's
just left the channel on after the Tottenham game, and it's going through all the Premier League goals this weekend. Oh wow, madness. But yeah, as I said, if someone held a gun to my head right now and said you have to choose yes or no, I'd probably say yes, but I would not be one bit surprised if they didn't.
Yeah, Manchester United after beating City was one I went, oh fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's a surprising result. But I said last week, I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't on here because I was sacked, but against Everton, I said it in the WhatsApp group actually. Against Everton, I know they drew 1-1, and some people will think they were lucky with the goal at the end that wasn't given. But
Igalo should have scored.
Huh?
Igalo should have scored for them.
Yeah, but yeah, he should have done. I was going to say, but that was the best I've seen United play in a while, in a long, long time, and that kind of worried me. And then look, City, they probably deserved to win, and they were good again. So I think they're picking up some form at the right time.
Well,
their problem has always been though when teams park the bus, and Everton didn't do that, and City didn't do that. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know who they've got coming up, but
that's what I was just looking at. They got Tottenham coming up, and you'd say Leicester at the end. That's their tough 2 games.
Yeah,
now.
but United dropped points against the Burnleys.
I know. That's I was going to say that. Yeah.
What?
And Europa League, does that fuck them up a little bit too? You know, if they go. Like, they're in a position where I suppose Arsenal were last year. Do they go, okay, we can make top 4 mathematically, but now Arsenal's out of the Europa League and we've got, these other... Do they go Europa League? Like, that's a possibility.
I mean, they're playing... They're not at that stage yet because they're playing a team that looks like someone threw a dart.
Yeah.
But that decision will come in.
Oh, yeah. Lask. Who the fuck's Lask? Yeah.
Next question is Cronky's second son. Did Nasri leave the same window as Cesc? Yes. Would you take Calvert-Lewin at the Emirates if Aubameyang or Lacazette left?
No.
I like Calvert-Lewin. I said this in the group chat the other day because I think the same question came up. I like Calvert-Lewin. I wouldn't have him as a replacement for them two, but I do think he's got a lot about him. Alwinder, Ballwinder, whatever his name is, something along those lines. Why was Martinelli not started instead of Nketiah? We've asked this question every week for the last few weeks. We don't know. Ozil is incorrigibly habituated to assist even when he can shoot? Is he low on confidence? I saw someone criticised him at the ground when the flag went up because they thought it was Lacazette that was offside. Oh, fuck. Like, Ozil gets criticised non-stop. Oh, fucking Ozil, why didn't he shoot? He done the right thing. Like, imagine Ozil trying a backwards flick header from there and it not going in, people would lose their shit. Like, for me, he would have known Lacazette was behind him as well.
Yeah.
I can't. I think he's done everything right.
Yeah, look, I can't criticise him on that one. But in the Europa League game, I do remember screaming at the fucking TV quite a few times, shoot. And I actually, look, this question's come up now, but I actually, thinking about it, are we low on confidence when it comes to shooting just in general? Like, we're holding on to that one too many passes, or because I remember that, and that could have been the adrenaline running through that Europa League game too. You're just thinking, fucking shoot, you can't.
That's just us. We've always held on to ball. We won't shoot for a packed crowd. We never have done. It's why we rarely score any deflected goals. But I mean, as I said earlier, I read this question and I thought, hang on, I thought Ozil shot when he shouldn't have done. As I said, the chance in the first half, I thought he should have left it away. So I read this and thought the exact opposite. And it's not low confidence. Ozil is someone that doesn't shoot too often. Like, that's just how he's always been. And he wasn't low on confidence when he was getting 20 assists in a season or giving Ronaldo the ball to score every week. It's just his game. Like, some people, it's like saying, oh, Granit doesn't shoot on his right foot. Is he low on confidence? No, he just knows his right foot isn't very good, so he doesn't shoot. The MAA again. If we sell Aubameyang, do we necessarily have to buy a striker of the same quality? If we have a decent front line and a good attacking system and the drop is too bad, the Ozil replacement is more key, in my opinion.
I think the stats, if without Aubameyang's goals, we would be, the bottom three or something. I think.
Well, it's 30 goals a season gone out of your team.
Yeah, that's it. You need to do goals for goals. So, and for me, the only person that's scoring goals at the moment, Haaland, never going to get him. Timo Werner, someone I really love, and I would, if we actually sold Aubameyang, I would 100% go for him.
Ever since Tony's talked about Timo Werner, I think he's fucking been outstanding ever since you said to him that he's been shit.
Well, they drew 0-0 with Bayern and he missed a sitter. They drew 0-0 at the weekend. I didn't watch tonight, so I don't know how he played. In the first leg, he wasn't great. Missed a couple of chances and scored a penalty.
Yeah, but
I'm not judging him play on 4 games. I don't really rate him on everything I've seen. I still think he'll go to Liverpool as well.
Yeah, to be fair, I just think, if you sell Aubameyang, you have to get in goals. There's no two ways about it. There's no, Martinelli can come in and score and Eddie or even get in. I think we're looking at one David Guy for. But he again, maybe as a Lacazette replacement him. No, you have to get in a hot striker.
So for me, yes and no about the question. You have to replace the goals, no doubt about it. I don't think we go about trying to replace them with one man. As in, you might look. If you count Aubameyang as a left winger, we've had no goals from our strikers this season, or relatively no goals. If you count him as a striker, we've had nothing from the left wing. So whether you go, okay, we need to replace 40 goals, and you say, let's get a striker that can get 25 and a winger that can get 15, or Ozil's only scored a couple, let's get a 10 that maybe isn't as creative, but or not, maybe not even a 10, say a Ramsey type player that maybe isn't as creative but will get you 10-15 from midfield, and you do it that way, because I think the list is very small of strikers that are going to get Aubameyang like numbers, and the list of that on that list that's very small, then that's available is even smaller, and then that's available that other clubs aren't interested in. I don't think there's anyone. Like I said, the one name I don't like.
I saw you coming from.
You got Werner as one of them. I said I'm convinced he'll go to Liverpool. Then you said we're not going to get a Haaland. So I think you're kind of looking at a list that doesn't exist. to replace if you're trying to directly replace Aubameyang's goals.
No, look, I see where you're coming from, and the problem is we've got obviously Lacazette, who I think will be gone in the summer, but then you look at Pepe, like he's probably under in terms of goal scoring since he's come to Arsenal. So I would like to think, that comes up next season.
I think you've also got to look at yes, he's underperformed, but you can't, if he then goes back to the 15 or so next season that you expected, you can't count that as a gain because he's just underperformed this year. Like if they at the start of the season, as I said this before, like say they banked on 25 from Aubameyang and 20 from Lacazette and 15 from Pepe, and Pepe's got 7, whatever it is. Yeah. If he then gets 15 next year, you can't say we've added 5 goals. For me, like because that's what you've brought him to hit them numbers. You can't say it's a gain just for getting what you assume is par. Like I said, just for me, I don't think like Addy. If not Werner, say Werner goes to Liverpool, who's next on your list? I can't really think of anyone.
Well, Mobley's one for me. You've got Icardi.
Oh yes,
you know, like you've got strikers.
A lot of baggage. Icardi comes with a lot of baggage. That's the Icardi will get you goals. That's something you can 100% put your money on.
Icardi won't put the work in that Arteta wants.
He's putting in the work at PSG, I would say.
Well, I read something the other day that basically their fans don't like him because when he scores, that's great. When he doesn't score, he does fuck all. And they kind of feel like they've already got that in Neymar, but Neymar's a bit more entertaining doing it. Like, because he went on a drought recently. I think he didn't score for 5 or so games, and then he scored when they beat someone about 87-0. And they were saying that he was basically on the verge of getting boos, or was getting a few boos or a few mutters about him because when he doesn't score, look, don't get me wrong, the guy's clinical and he can score with his head, he can score with his feet, he can rocket the ball. He's a great player, but as I said, the notion is if he doesn't score, he doesn't give you much, and I think Arteta's going to want someone who buzzes around. I don't think Immobile's an option at all. He's had one big move and it flopped.
I was going to say, Immobile won't be. He won't be up there.
I just think if you're looking for someone to get 30 goals, you're looking at a very small list.
Just out of curiosity, did Lukaku go to Inter on loan?
No. That's
set deal.
Permanent.
Yeah. Okay.
Next question. Hakon Larsson, what part of our team would you swap out completely? Our defence, our midfield, or our attack?
Yeah, defence. Then midfield. Yeah, attack. Look, I'd like to think our attack's good, but Aubameyang, Lacazette are the key, I suppose. Well, Martinelli's there. Defence for me.
Midfield for me. They don't really offer too much defensively. They don't create anything. I think we've got so many players that are just good. Like as I said, I like Xhaka.
Oh yeah, it is a toss-up.
Has liked him for a long time.
Yeah, it's a toss-up.
But they just don't. I mean, you look at the end of the season, and you're like, they don't have. There's not a great solid defensive midfielder. They don't help our defence too much. They keep the ball well, but they don't offer much going forward. Like I think of all of the centre midfielders in the squad, Premier League goals this season, I think has Torreira got 2. I know he got Liverpool away. I think in my head he got another one, and that's it.
Yeah.
Premier League goals from, as I said, you're looking at Guendouzi, Xhaka, Ceballos, Torreira, Willock. There's 2. It might not even be 2. I might have made up the second Torreira one. He definitely got 1 away at Liverpool, and that's it. That's not good enough.
No.
I mean, look, Ndombele, he's got his manager calling him fat and lazy. He's got at least 2. Off the top of my head, he's got 2, and I think he's got more than that. And this is a guy that, look, I know he costs a lot of money, but the manager doesn't want to play him because he thinks he's fat, lazy, and doesn't try. And then you add the other goals to it. It's just that's looking at a very bad top team.
Any team I want Pepe, Lacazette, Aubameyang like that. Something's not happening.
No, but I'm saying I'm saying from midfield, they don't offer anything.
Yeah, I think you're right actually in the midfields. Defence is there, but it is shady. Defenders are very fucking shady. But when you have an attack like we have, and you look at Aubameyang's up there in the leading top goal scorer. Is he still or not? But anyway, like you've got
he's two behind.
He's still there.
Vardy.
Okay, so he's thereabouts, and there should be more goals coming from the likes of Pepe, and then you suppose you're talking about the midfield. There isn't midfield. I'm changing the midfields. I've talked myself into that.
100%.
I even think, just again off the top of my head, I've not got any numbers in front of me, but I can't remember Granit getting too many assists. I think Ceballos has got about 3. Guendouzi, I think, has 1 or 2. You know what I mean? So you're looking at goals and assists throughout 5 centre midfielders, and it's probably not in double figures. That just isn't acceptable.
No, it's not. It's not.
Anyway, next question. Seems they're long.
Just before you go to the next question on them, I was just thinking, Gwen, you know what shits me a little bit? You've got Ceballos on loan. You've got Granit there who, look, I like Granit for what he does, for what he can do and what he, he's not the greatest of midfielders. But you know what pisses me off a little bit is Torreira comes in, and I don't think he's as great as everyone talks about. You've got fucking Guendouzi there, who I think is absolutely fucking useless. Like, the bloke needs to go out on loan or fucking something. Like, he's fucking dog shit useless. But then when you talk about the midfielders, and people are quite happy to sit back and take the piss out on Granit and this and that, he's probably the best of the fucking midfielders that we have in a worse fucking group of midfielders. And that's...
I think he's our best.
He's the best in a bad bunch.
Yeah, I agree.
And that whole fucking midfield, it just fucking... It shits you a little bit. Like, they're not superstars, and we talked about superstar... What did we talk about the other week? World class and that. Like, that is... We don't have world class midfielders at all. And Guendouzi, like I said, he's... It's Arsenal fans look at these young players and go, oh fuck, he's the next world beater, he's the next superstar. Get off your fucking high horse, because this bloke, he might be a good midfielder, he might be a solid midfielder, but he's not going to be no fucking... I don't think he's going to be a world class. And if someone's offering 50 million now, sell him. Get him out the fucking door. Sorry.
5 minutes later than planned, I'll get on to the next question. It seems, Hakon Larsen again. It seems there are longer distances between our lines and players now than it was in our first games under Arteta. Is this something you guys have noticed? One of our key factors for playing well was our shorter distances, offensive and defensively, in our first games under Arteta. I think in general our defensive distances are a lot better. We did get caught out a lot against West Ham the other day, but I think that was just because we basically ran out of ideas and we were trying to commit more men forward to try and break them down because we didn't have a clue and weren't creating anything. And they hit us mainly on the break or on a turnover. You look at the Haller chance I mentioned earlier, the other one that Antonio cut back poorly. They were both from the turnovers. I can't remember where the Antonio header came from, and then the Antonio bad miss was from a corner, so you can't really blame distances for that. I do think in general our defensive distances are a lot better, but yeah, that game they definitely weren't.
I agree.
Any 5-minute monologue, Tez, or shall I move on?
No, I'm good.
How much of our offensive problem is it that Ozil and Pepe are too close? In that, I mean, their heat map was almost exactly the same. Ozil didn't take much up the space behind the striker in the middle and was very close to Pepe. Can it relate to our lack of attack from right back? I touched on this earlier. I thought Ozil's positioning was excellent, and I've not seen heat maps, but when their time was on the pitch together, Pepe was basically hugging the touchline, as we've seen with Sterling and Sane at City, and Ozil was playing just inside him, picking up a horrible position to mark. As I said, Cresswell didn't know if he was coming or going. Rice didn't want to drop that deep and let everyone else control the game. Noble was obviously trying to get higher up to move the ball on, and West Ham didn't know if they were coming or going. And then it kind of shows for me with the goal, in that I know it's a deflected shot, but there's no one with Ozil. He's picking up spaces where he can't really be marked, and if they do mark him, it's a massive detriment to their game. So for me, I don't think there was any problem with the space in between them two. I thought it was verging on perfect. I just don't think we got the ball to him at all.
Yeah, I agreed with what you were saying earlier, and nothing against Socrates, but I'm not real sure why Socrates is our first right back option.
Well, I mean, they've said Ornstein said the other day that Hector's carrying a groin injury, which is limiting to do some stuff. So they're trying to rest him where possible. Yeah. And Ainsley Maitland-Niles is obviously we spoke about earlier.
Yeah, okay. I just don't understand. Like, okay, so he's the option, but the problem you've got down that right back position, you've got Pepe, who's so fast with the ball, and then you've got Ozil, dropping into these holes and these runs and different things. But as you're right, they're not getting the ball to him. Ceballos was poor. Like, it's that right. The right attack isn't as strong as what I'd like anyway.
I think Cedric, I'm not saying he's going to play tomorrow, but I think in the press reports Arteta said he's back, he's ready to play if obviously needed. I mean, Hector will play tomorrow, I assume, but I think Cedric is back from now, apparently.
Yeah, no, just to add on that, I think also, what game was it? Was it not Newcastle? I think it was Newcastle first half where we struggled. Yeah, it was Newcastle first half where we struggled again to find Ozil. And then Ozil again picked up similar positions. I think it was later on in the first half where we started to link up with Ozil a bit. But then, yeah, we have that problem of getting the ball from our midfield into that number 10 where we can actually unleash Ozil and see what he actually is going to try and bring to us. But the longer we actually don't get the ball to him in those right positions, in those good pockets, that's where you're going to get the fans that, Ozil on the pitch doing nothing. It's this and that. And you get that huge debate again. But
especially because he comes shorter because he feels he's wasted it, not getting the ball. Yeah. And then he completes 100% of passes, but they're not incisive. So narrative becomes fucking Ozil didn't get an assist again.
Yes, and that's where everything's all skewed. And I was talking to, I think sometimes it's our decision making as well, because even if we take Ozil out of the picture, so I don't know whether you see the runs as much, but we actually make very good runs. Aubameyang makes so many good runs. Pepe makes so many good runs. And when I was saying more Xhaka's on the ball, he has the ability to actually put the ball over the top, but we actually don't make the pass. We don't do it. And I don't know if you remember Arsenal Burnley away when Aubameyang, Xhaka actually played that ball over. And I think Aubameyang, did he score off of it?
No. We drew 0-0.
We drew 0-0. Yeah. So he had that chance, but then he didn't score. But then that was the ball, the right movement and the ball that we do all the time. But that's the first time even the only time I've actually seen someone actually play that ball over the top when someone's made that right move. But
Granit plays that ball all the time, but to the left back, not to someone going in on goal.
Yes. So it's for me, it's just. We struggle to find the right players. And when people actually get into the right position or make the right runs, we don't find them.
Yeah.
Granit's and sorry.
Next question's on Granit.
Okay, right, go.
Yeah. Hakan Lupton, was that the worst Xhaka performance under Arteta? I think it was by far. For me, by an absolute mile.
It was for me too.
Yeah.
And that's what I was just about to touch on. I think, I don't know about you boys, but the whole Granite switching back to left back, it stops a lot going forward and a lot going... Okay, you've got Socrates on the right, you've got these two centre-backs. David Luiz, he can fucking pinpoint a ball, right? He is brilliant at it. Granite is also brilliant at it. These two guys you've got in your back line who can make that long pass up to your Aubameyangs, Lacazette, whoever's up top, right, Ozil, going forward in attack. You've got them, and who am I to argue with Arteta and his tactics and things? But for me, Granite dropping back to left back stops your attacking going forward a little bit, because your two best ball players, ball passers who can pinpoint them fucking guys up forward, is at the back and not getting the ball to them. I could be wrong, but that's the way I...
It allows Saka to go forward, though. If Granit stays in midfield, then we have no width at all, because Aubameyang's not a touchline winger. So if Granit stayed in midfield, Saka couldn't commit as much, and which would mean Aubameyang stays out wide, which, one, he can't do, and two, it means our strikers would actually have to score goals, and they're allergic to that. So I agree. I know what you mean, that we kind of, because he's so deep, his pass isn't incisive. They might be good, but they're not incisive. Look, I think position-wise, Arteta's got it spot on with him, and I think that half shows in that a lot of people hated him, and now they don't, essentially. And some of them are just dumb cunts, and the others are now think Arteta's made him fantastic. Look, a lot of Granit's skill set, all of Granit's skill sets, he had anyway. But for me, I don't know why he just had a bad game. His passing radar was off. His tackling wasn't great. Again, look, I've seen him play a lot worse, but it was definitely his worst game under Arteta for me.
100%. No, not even add.
Hack on Larson, and we kind of we touched on this earlier. How on earth didn't Lacazette get a penalty when he was wrestled before a cross? VAR checked it and it was clear as the sun he was held and unable to move. I have no...
The only thing I said, did you see the Arsenal Twitter header?
Yeah.
They changed it to VR. What was it? The
VAR
check. Yeah, but then it's ridiculous and it's funny because we don't get anything from VR.
Well, we've only had two positive VARs this season, and they were both onside. Like, do you know what I mean? They weren't even marginal. Ozil's one, as I said, I was actually surprised how close it was when I saw the line the other day. And then obviously Aubameyang's one at Old Trafford when he's about 30 yards onside. But we've not had a marginal call go our way. And I can think of probably 5 penalties off the top of my head which for me just so obvious. I mean, Pepe had 2, one Bournemouth, one who was it the other week? Sheffield United. There's obviously that one the other day, and there was 2 at Sheffield United away. One was Socrates.
Oh man, that was, and it's the thing, the Premier League have come out and said, "Oh yeah, they should have given us the Pepe one." They've actually come out. We should be better off in points if we converted them goals and everything like that. But
because the Socrates at Crystal Palace, I know at one point they'd admitted 5 mistakes, and this was like a long time in. There'd been a lot more than 5 mistakes, but they'd only admitted to 5, and 2 of them cost us. One was the Socrates, and the other one was a Pepe penalty against someone. Well, not penalty, but it should have been.
Yeah, not penalty, but it should have been. But yeah, with me, obviously, I really hate VAR, and I hate how they use VAR. If they're not going to change their use of it for next season, I think they should just scrap it. To be fair, because they're not.
They're never going to scrap it, because if they scrap it, I agree with you. I want the fucking thing scrapped from all forms of. I just don't see a need for it. But if they scrap it, then they admit to a fuck up, which I think is surprising. I'm surprised that they're coming out and saying that this and that too.
Or they need to hold officials to account. Like they need to say, what you're doing is just totally backwards.
I'm going to predict what they do is they bring in something. I don't know if it'll be next year, the year after, or the year after, but the evolution of video technology, and I'm now seeing it. Okay, you boys probably don't follow the NRL. The NRL has had it in for a long time, right? Now the Premier League's taken it, football's taking it on, and they've probably started the last 5 years or so. The evolution of VAR or VAR, whatever you want to call it, has now been in the NRL. This year, we're seeing a captain's challenge. Because they can't get the fucking thing right with the referees, they can't get it on the video ref right, so let's bring in a captain's challenge. That's the evolution of probably 15 to 20 years of VAR in the NRL. Football, I reckon, will go down this path. Within the next 5 years, you'll see either a manager's challenge or a captain's challenge or something along them lines. That's just the way.
I don't think they will. I think they'll just go down the European model probably next season. I don't see a change that drastic, and the reason being, look at that Lacazette penalty the other day was checked. Whether the captain's challenged that or whatever, or it's just something been checked naturally, they've still got that decision so fucking wrong. It's ridiculous.
Did they check it? Did they actually check?
Yeah, they checked it.
Oh wait.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Look,
did they
this is
check?
why the
You sure they checked
has
that?
to be accountable. Huh?
I didn't think they checked it. Okay.
They could have checked. They couldn't have checked it, because if they checked it and
They checked
said
it. I'm telling you, I was sitting in the ground. There's a big screen saying VAR check, possible penalty. And it was a really quick check as well. It's the same as the Sheffield United one where the ball went out for a throw on and everyone was like, "Oh, we're getting a penalty here. We've seen it. Like we know this is a penalty." And then 5 seconds later, the ref blowing his whistle and said, "Take the throw on."
So captain's challenge or manager's challenge, whatever you want to call it, wouldn't change it. Would it?
No, that's why for me they've got to hold. Look, I've said this before. At the moment, the assistant ref is the guy running around on the pitch. Is Michael Oliver, Mike Dean, Atkinson, whoever they are.
Yeah.
They've got to change it to the assistant ref is the guy in Stockley Park, and the ref is the guy on the pitch. And then you've got someone accountable. It should be more consistent. You don't get people doing 5 games a day, which is what you get in the VAR at the moment, which is fucking senseless in itself. Like, I love football and I get fucking bored watching 5 games a day. And I don't have to make any decisions, and I can pick my phone up and go on Twitter in between times. I think that's probably what the VARs are doing sometimes. Like, it's scandalous. The guy on the pitch has to be the referee, and I think we'll go to that model probably this summer, especially with there being a Euros. It's got to be harder for English referees to get gigs because they're working a different model to everyone else. Yeah, so I'd imagine this summer, if not at absolute latest, the one after, we'll go down that. But I really can't see a challenge-based system.
I will add that I watch a lot of, obviously, Roma, and everything that I've seen in Italy, I've had no problems this year with VAR. But Premier League, massive issues.
Because the guys actually say, okay, cool, you might want to have a look at that, and then the referee goes to the screen and says, you know what, okay, let me make the decision. But our guys, hey, what do you think about it? Is it a penalty? No, you made the decision. Oh, it was a penalty. No, it wasn't a penalty. Okay, no, yeah. It's stupid.
Who was it? Tottenham the other week, Lo Celso, where they didn't give the decision, and then while the game was still going on, but 10 minutes later, they've gone, we've made a mistake.
We made a mistake.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's laughable.
But I think the Socrates one, and this is not me taking the piss out of Australians as much as I love to do that, the guy who made the decision, like you had Atkinson on the pitch who's refereed probably 1,000 Premier League games. The guy who made the decision was some Australian guy that I think had managed 9 games in the Championship, never in the Premier League.
He lived in Australia, but he lived in Australia, but he was born in New Zealand.
I mean, that probably isn't true. But do you know what I mean? How can, Timbuktu, how can you have a guy who's managed ref 12 games in the division below telling an experienced Champions League referee, like, oh, yeah, this is the decision, instead of saying, look, you're obviously the best ref for this job because they've appointed you to be the ref today. If I was better, they would appoint me to be the ref that day.
Yeah.
So go and look at it and give your opinion as a top referee that you're supposed to be. It's just fucking.
Can I just ask? Champions, the championships or is it championship? Sky Bet Championships, the league,
don't have it.
Whatever it's called. They don't have it.
They don't have it. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
No, they don't have it.
Because I that makes sense why I don't hear much about it. No other leagues below have it, obviously.
No, I'm not sure if they're thinking of introducing it to the championship. Fuck knows.
I think it's too much money. I don't think.
Yeah, but it's the drawdown, because obviously now they have to have goal line technology, because like there's now been 6 teams come down that have it, so they've introduced goal line technology to the whole league. And I don't know, maybe not next year, because there'll only be 3 teams that are ready for it. But then if obviously another set of 3 teams come down after, and then you've got a quarter of the league that have already set up for it, and it doesn't become as much of an expense.
Oh yeah, it makes sense.
That's what happened with goal line tech anyway. Halls of Marble, does Pepe overplay at key times? I feel he doesn't make a key pass at good times.
I think he.
Addy?
Yeah, go on, Addy.
From that Olympiacos match where he twisted the defender like 27 times, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I was banging my head on my TV screen saying either shoot, pass. After the second time, he had an opening to either do it on his right foot, shoot on his right foot. But yeah, like obviously that's his game.
When you was in primary school, how gassed would you have been if someone done that though?
Obviously, yeah, you'd be gassed. Like, oh my gosh, do it again. But not when you're trying to win a game like that. Oh man.
No, it's playground football. It's absolute playground football.
Literally.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like that chime as well. There was 2 separate chances. Once where he could have cut back to Lacazette, and another where he cut back to Aubameyang, and I was just like, painful. Yeah, he does overplay at times. I wouldn't look. I would say there's been times he has played a key pass at the right time, but I think he overplays.
Just the thing, I wouldn't change him. I think I would just make him again. I would still want him to do what he does, but I think where I would want Arteta to just tweak him a bit, but just for him just to be more direct. So once you see that opening, bang, that's when you do it. So maybe
I don't know if you've seen, Arteta said that he's playing against him in training to like try and make him realise and see everything he needs to do. I don't know where I saw that quote. I saw it today. I don't know if he said it at his press conference, but he said he is directly he's playing right back in training, or left back, sorry. And then and the other way, he's playing left wing to try and get Pepe used to where he should be covering at right back.
Okay, I might watch his interview.
I think it was today's presser. I saw that quote on Twitter earlier, and I assume it came from today's presser, but I'm not 1,000,000%. I've got a good question on Pepe later that I know someone sent me on WhatsApp that I put in the group, so I'll save that till then. Halls of Marble again. Is Leno the best keeper since Lehmann? What's all this crap links with Willian? He's a good player, but then we are Arsenal. Why should we get players who are cast off? Chelsea cast offs. Let's go to the resident keeper. Best since Lehmann?
What 100%. I think Szczesny's a good keeper, but Szczesny didn't mature in time at Arsenal. Ospina, average goalkeeper, good shot stopper, but that was it. He was too small for me. Almunia, he was I don't know how he was Arsenal's first team goalkeeper. So yeah, 100%, 100%. And he's settled in. Check. Let me not forget Check. To be fair, I still think he was a Chelsea agent during his time here.
Yeah, Leno was better than Arsenal's version of Czech.
Yeah, 100%. Czech made some decent saves and everything. Had some good performances, but he wasn't the 15 points a season that John Terry was saying. That's for sure. But yeah, no, definitely the best goalkeeper since Lehmann.
Anything on Willian from either of you?
Willian, me personally, would I go for him? No. If
to put my cards on the table, I'd take him depending on wages. I wouldn't be paying him over 100 grand a week.
That's it. Yeah.
Like, as a left wing option. Look, I dare say, at the moment, if you move Aubameyang central, Willian would probably start on a left wing, and I think he'd probably trust him more than he would a Martinelli. So I can't say he's a bad player as a Chelsea cast-off. And look, I hate the term cast-offs or rejects because Chelsea are offering him a contract. He's not signing.
He's not signing it. Yes, that's. I think he wants a 3-year deal as opposed to a 2-year deal. From what?
Yeah, but for me, he looks as quick and sharp now. I mean, he's always that's his thing. His main thing is his sharpness.
Yeah.
If he loses that, he's fucked and finished. But for me, he looks as sharp as ever. I mean, I was watching him. I didn't realise Mason Holgate was as slow as he was until Willian started running him the other day. It was ridiculous.
I just want. I know you boys are talking about Willian, but I also seen an article that Abraham has rejected a new deal with Chelsea.
Yeah, but William's out of contract this summer.
Okay, so you don't think
That's
don't?
why the links. He's been linked with us, Tottenham, Bayern Munich, and someone else as well. I can't remember who it was. Yeah. He'll get a good club. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea offer him 3 years because they're losing Pedro. They'll probably lose. Well, Giroud and Pedro are both out of contract as well. So to lose them free, they'd have to do a lot of signing to replace that.
Yeah, no, but I think they're ready to. I think they're ready to sign big because they didn't sign anybody this summer.
Oh yeah, they'll go in big. They'll go in big on summer. They'll go.
They're going balls to the wall for Sancho. I just think he'll go to Man United.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You reckon?
I think so.
See, I
Based on nothing. It's just what I think will happen. There's no.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea are gonna go stupid money for him. I think they're gonna chuck the whole wallet at Sancho.
Rightly so.
500k you want? There you go, 550.
Weren't we linked to him before he went to Dortmund?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Then Sancho signed him.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, we were never. I don't think we was ever gonna. That learn playing week in week out in the German league. I think that lured him away definitely.
Next question. Original Brad, we seem to be second half FC like we were last year under Emery. Surely this must be down to the players that can't seem to play well for 90 minutes. How many good 90 minutes performances have we had in the past 2 years? Probably under 5. The only thing I disagree with this is a lot of our wins under Arteta have been wrapped up in the first half and then we've parked the bus in the second.
Second half, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd agree we're only playing half games, but I wouldn't say it's just the second half.
Yep.
So,
I got nothing to add. No, I got nothing to add.
I don't think the players are fit enough. That's just, Yeah,
I was just going to add that they need a pre-season. I think pre-season wasn't as good under Emery. I think Arteta will get him where he needs to be, which will make then sustain it for the whole season and for 90 minutes in a match.
Yeah, and then last question on Twitter, but we still got a few more on WhatsApp. Lewis, why is it that we are never awarded penalties? Does it really go back to Eduardo and company being classified as divers, and we haven't been able to shake that reputation? Seems particularly bad this season. We've had like 2 maybe. I was trying to think. Norwich away.
Aubameyang missed. Oh, was that last season?
Tottenham away.
Yeah, Tottenham. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, we must have had another, surely.
Pepe had a penalty where he scored the first goal.
Villa, yeah. 2.
2.
I feel like there's more, but I can't remember any off the top of my head. Okay. But anyway, do you think it's based on reputation of old? I don't even remember sort of being classified as divers. I remember Eduardo against Celtic, and I know he got a load of heat over that. But I don't feel like the club was sort of tarred by that. And then the season Van Persie had when he scored, 32 goals or whatever, we seemed to get a lot. Seth scored a few for us as well. So I can't see it being left over from that. I don't know why. I really don't.
I think that
big conspiracy theory if you're going to start.
I won't lie to you. I just think the referees don't like us. I think the referee. No, hold on. Look at Mike Dean. Look at Mike Dean. Look at Mike Dean.
But he's a cunt to all, isn't he? Like I don't watch other games as closely as Arsenal, but he's a bit of a cunt to everyone, isn't he? It's all about him.
He has a personal vendetta against Arsenal. He shouldn't actually ref Arsenal matches. Honestly, Mike Dean, him. Oh my gosh. He doesn't. He wants teams to smash us, and then he'll say, "Yeah, it's a man's game. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no,
it's a man's game."
Yeah, no.
Oh fucking hell! I don't
know. On to WhatsApp questions. Where is it? Who would you prefer, Mahrez or Pepe? I had a long debate about this. It was my friend who messaged me and he said, I'll put it on the podcast, see what everyone else says. I had a long debate about this.
Oh, I would much prefer Mahrez over Pepe. I'm going to get smashed for that.
Yeah, no. But then I would say, are we talking about where they are now in their careers? Or
this was exactly my argument. I said, as of right now, my answer is Mahrez. I think Pepe has the potential to become that, but faster and stronger.
Yeah.
But will he do that is a different thing. But as of right now, I would take Mahrez.
Yeah, that's what it is, because I think Pepe's ceiling is much higher than Mahrez's. But it's just if it's talking about right here, right now, 100%, I'll take Mahrez over Pepe.
If they offered you a straight swap in the summer, yes or no?
Yeah.
In the summer.
If City offered a straight swap in this summer, would you take it?
No.
I just added that question now. I've not thought about an answer.
Yeah, I would. Yes, I would. Oh, look. For me, Mahrez is proven in the Premier League. Like, nothing against Pepe. I like Pepe, but we've discussed Pepe overplays the ball. We've discussed different. He's dropping goals. Since he's come to the Premier League, it's a huge test for him. The Premier League, is he going to be that player he was in the French league? I don't know. Mahrez, for me, he's proved that at Leicester. He's gone to Manchester City, who are a really, really good team, but he's still doing what Mahrez does. He carves it up. Mate, he's fucking brilliant. Like, I love Mahrez. So, straight swap, absolutely. You've got a proven Premier League player right there, and you've got a player with lots of potential. Don't get me wrong, Pepe has lots of potential, but is he going to be that next, that next big thing? Are we going to be talking in 5 years' time? Was Pepe? Did we pay overs for him? Like, was he? Did we pay too much for him at the end of the day? Is he going to be that 20-25 goal left wing, right winger? Just lots of questions. Mahrez for me is proven.
Fair enough. I just got another question on Twitter, so I'll ask that before I forget. Question for the pod. Obvious lack of a ball carrier is killing us at the moment. Love what I'm seeing of Smith Rowe at Huddersfield at the moment. Do you think he'll get a crack at the number 10 shirt next season? I'll answer first just because everyone knows I'm a huge Smith Rowe fan. I think he's got ridiculous amounts of potential. For me, I'd always said I thought he was the best of the academy lot. Obviously, Saka's doing amazing things this season that makes that sound a bit silly. I think Smith Rowe will get given a chance next season. I'm not saying he's going to come in and be our starter, but I think he'll probably, if he remains fit, get sort of 15 to 20 appearances next season, and that's his audition. I know Addy's not as hot on him as I am.
So with Smith Rowe, his game and everything, I love it, but he needs a loan to a Premier League team, and which will say, okay, yep, we will play you all season, and from the start of the game, and you'll get your game time goal, or even a high championship team. It has to be either Premier League or high championship, and he needs to play all season. Because He went on to Hoffenheim before, did well, got injured. Leipzig. Did he play well?
I don't think he started, did he? He didn't play one game.
Hoffenheim. Reece went Hoffenheim.
Yeah. So then, Sorry, Reece went Hoffenheim. Yeah, Leipzig. But then I just think he's injured. I don't want him to be like a Jack Wilshere where he's injury prone and can't play back-to-back games. And
just on the flip side of what you've just said, then surely if you don't want him overplayed and get injuries like Jack did,
hold on, not overplayed. Not that I don't want him to be overplayed. I actually want him to get game time. I think obviously Jack was playing first team football from
17.
17. When did he go Bolton? At 17?
Yeah, 16 maybe.
16 maybe, yeah. So Jack started really, really young, and I think that's what killed him. But Smith Rowe, 19 now? 20?
Yeah, 19, 20.
1920. So I think this is the time where he needs to come up, bang, similar to how was Mason Mount?
Same, I think.
Yeah, but this is where I think, he needs to come in and stamp his authority. Mason Mount was at Derby, bang, played his game. Yeah, we knew what he was doing. So this is where I think he needs a full season at a high championship team or Premier League team and play 38 games. Obviously, you might not play all 38 games, but not missing like 3, 4, 5 games through injury. Maybe a game here or there, bang, and then that's when I know he'll be definitely ready to come in at Arsenal. But for me, not next season.
Yeah, I disagree with a little bit where you talk about coming into a Premier League team. I would much prefer these younger players coming up through the academy, not playing in Championship, even though I've heard like lots of great things about the Championships, but I like to see them go to the Bundesliga or something like that and learn their trade there, like Sancho's done now at Dortmund. His value's increased something, unbelievable, and I wonder whether a Reece Nelson, or Smith Rowe or somebody went to Dortmund and played every single game there. They're playing in. One, it increases their value. Two, it increases their skill level because they're playing in the first division in the Bundesliga. But where coming into the Premier League, if you're playing for a Southampton or I'm just trying to think, one of the lower teams like a Watford or something. Bournemouth. What's that do for you as a player? You get going out and getting flogged week in, week out. Like, what's that do for you as a young player in confidence? So where if you're playing for a half decent team in the Bundesliga, at least you're thereabouts and learning your trade, and your value's going up as well.
The only thing I have to say about that, my issue is I think the Premier League teams have more control over the Championship teams and teams in England to say you have to play them. When Reece went to Hoffenheim, I think after the second half of the season, he hardly got a game and he didn't start any other game. Look at Mavropanos now. We've had to drop him to German first division or second division, so to guarantee him game time with Nuremberg. So I think we don't hold as much power with the German teams. They'll take our players, but then they'll probably say, we'll control when they play, how they play, and everything, and what formation they'll play, and how many minutes they'll get. Whereas I think we'll have more control over these over the English teams to say, okay, if he's going to you, if we're sending to you, he must play so and so amount of games.
I get what you're saying, but I think as well, you got with someone like Smith Rowe, 22 of Championship teams would have taken him, probably maybe 24. So then you get to dictate terms, as you've just said. Whereas I think when you're looking at other clubs, other leagues, there's not as much competition. Look, there's probably that could afford him and realistically play him. There's maybe only 3 Bundesliga clubs. Obviously, he's not going to play for Bayern. He's not going to play for Dortmund.
Yeah.
So there's probably only 3 of them. So then it's a lot harder to make demands like that. I think that's just more about level. Like I say, even Reece last year, I mean, I don't think he physically was ready for the first team football at all, to be honest, no matter what division it was in. But at the start of last season, when he went to Hoffenheim, I think every single championship club would have taken him. So then you could have said, he plays this many games, he's rested this many times. Do you know what I mean? We get his data and we tell you he's rested. If he's in the red zone, which has now become an official thing, like he doesn't play, he plays in this position, he plays this style. I think you can do that when you've got 20 to 30 teams chasing you. When you've got 2, and then one of them might be a long ball team, like it's a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder, like, and you know, we're talking obviously Smith Rowe, but when you look at Reece, like, okay, people are going to say he's a superstar or whatnot, but was he actually that good, boys? Like, are we talking about a mediocre player playing for a mid-level club in the Bundesliga who started, as you said, got some starts and then type of fizzled out? Was he as good as all Arsenal fans are playing? Like, does somebody else with take off their rosy-coloured glasses says, well, he wasn't that fucking great, lads? Like, you know.
My thing with Reece is I just think he needs decent coaching, because I was never, barring that first pre-season when I'd never heard of him and this kid runs on the scene and beating everyone all the time and you're kind of semi-amazed by that. I was never really a Reece fan. And Arteta has sung his praises and said I still real potential in him. He's tried to play him as much as possible. And I'll be honest, and again, I know Addy's not a huge fan. I think he's been very good under Arteta when he...
Arteta, yeah.
And even, like, I couldn't believe, I know Addy was asleep, I couldn't believe you guys didn't big him up after the Portsmouth game. I thought he was fucking excellent.
I think that Portsmouth game was literally showed me that the guy is actually learning, because that was just the most direct game I've actually seen it. Because when he first came into it, because I watched him in the youth.
That was the FA Cup,
yeah. I was watching the youth team and everything. I was like, he has the skill. He can beat any player, even for England under 21s and all the youth teams. Like he has the ability, but then he was just too casual on the ball. It's like, yeah, you know what? Because I've got this ability, I can go around you any time I want. But it's like Arteta is like, no. Once you got the ball, you see the space, you drive, you cross it in. And that Portsmouth game, for me, I was just clapping my hand. Even like Crystal Palace away, when he came on, he was really direct. When he came on, and then I think Pepe could have scored near the end. But yeah, it really, his game has really changed under Arteta, and I think we'll see more of him. Now that he's fitter, we're going to see more of him.
He also puts the work in defensively, which we shouldn't.
That's it. Yeah.
But back to the point.
I just think he needs coaching.
Yeah, well, back to the point, lads, though, on Smith Rowe. I don't want him playing down in the championships. I want him. If he's as good as we say, and Tony, you're a big fan of him, let him show me how good he is. Go on, somebody, like, I don't know, Arsenal, like you say, every championship club would probably want a Smith Rowe. But go and do a deal with the Bundesliga. Get this kid playing in the Bundesliga. Get him playing in it. I don't think Italy will do much for him, but show me how good he is week in, week out, and we can't say.
You've got to remember though, he went to a Bundesliga club and was injured the whole time. Played one game and they offered 25 million.
Yeah.
So it's not like it might be a bit once bitten, twice shy. Like, he's probably on what we don't consider substantial wages, but are probably quite big in Germany. And to be honest, the Championship, it's not all about level when people go on loan to the Championship, because look at Reece James, Mount, Tomori. Everyone kind of knew they were going to be top players, but are you, and I hate the term, are you man enough? Are you up for the battle? Because the Championship is a long, hard, fucking grueling season. You play twice a week, every week. They play about 60 games a season, even the worst teams. Like, it's 46 league games. And that is all about, most times when players go to the Championship, it's, we know you're good enough, are you up for it? And that's what it's about. And usually when players start going League 1, League 2, it's maybe, we're not sure if you're good enough.
Good enough, yeah.
It tends to be, we know you've got the ability. Have you got the bollocks? And I maybe because Smith Rowe's been injured, maybe that's what they were trying to test. Like, go to a team that are not.
Yeah, I get where you come
from. If you
from.
can create anything with a team that don't have much of the ball.
Okay, let's say Jordan Sancho went to championship team, and he didn't. He went to a Bundesliga team at Dortmund. But let's say he did go down there, right? And he's carving it up in that league. What value do you put on him?
No, but we're talking different circumstances. One was a transfer, one was a loan. So one was the player's choice, the other one was the club's choice.
Yeah,
so if a club wants you, but they want you to be more tougher, stronger, harder, they will send you on loan to the Championship. They don't care about your value. They want you to play for them. They want you to be ready to be in their team in 6 months, a year.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay.
Even look at Harry Wilson. I don't know if you know much about him. I think you will.
Yeah.
Obviously fucking class. Liverpool sent him to Derby, had a great season. Yes, he's man enough. Now we'll send him to the Premier League, see if he can do it here. He probably won't ever play for Liverpool again, but they'll sell him for 30 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess that's kind of what you're saying with Smith Rowe. But the loan of the Championship, he was obviously too good for the Championship. But it was, do you have the nuts to play football? And he did. And then now we're seeing what we're seeing.
And to be fair, if you look at Smith Rowe for Huddersfield, like Huddersfield, are they the best team? I think they're top 6. I think they're 4th or something.
No,
they're down in 10th or something. Even I know that.
The only reason why I said that, the only reason why I thought they were top, because Smith Rowe, I'm looking at their results. They're getting good results. Smith Rowe, man of the match. Listen to their manager. They're like, if I can get Smith Rowe for next season, I will take him straight away. Like you can see, everyone can see he's talented, and I've seen some of the clips of him at Huddersfield, and you're like, yes, this is what we want to see. But now for me, I want to see this for 30 matches. I want to see this for 20 matches in a row, and see you do it in a cold night in Swansea, and then go to Nottingham Forest. Like literally, if he can get through that.
That's why I think he's gone there and not a footballing team.
Yeah. But and maybe that is. And to be fair, he's balling in that team. He's what he's doing in on the pitch has been ridiculous.
I'll have to watch a couple of games. I just had to have a look now. Yeah, they're in 18th, 30. I knew they weren't up the top because I've watched the top of that league change a couple of times with Leeds and West Brom. So so I knew they weren't up there. But anyway,
I'll rush through these next 2 questions because we wanted to keep this short and it's not.
Okay.
I think this is from Maddie. I forwarded it, so I can't see who it's from. If Arteta wanted to play Aubameyang centre forward next season as a long-term plan, don't you think he would start by doing it now? I think Aubameyang's off. I don't know what you two think.
I think Lacazette's gone. It depends who goes first. If Lacazette goes first, I think then they throw the book at Aubameyang and say, "This is what we're happy to pay you." But when you're trying to negotiate the two of them, it's just so tricky because you've only probably got one pot of wages and you can't go real high for both of them. I'm thinking if that makes sense. Like, if I'm negotiating, it's easier to negotiate with one than two.
Yeah, I think Aubameyang's here next season, and I don't think he needs to worry about start playing Aubameyang centre forward this season because I think Aubameyang is one of them strikers that he understands everything and he's played at a high level that he can, if he needs to go centre forward and play under a certain tactic that Arteta wants to do, then he can do that straight away. I don't see that as a problem. But I actually think Lacazette is gone. I think we will give Aubameyang what he needs. But yeah, I think negotiating with 2 players because they can bounce off of each other and because they're good friends as well. Like, hey, Laka, what are they offering you? 200k. Okay, cool. I've scored more goals than you, so I want 270k. Yeah, I think that's it's gonna be harmful. But if they can pull it off, then fair play to Arsenal. but I don't think so.
Okay, and then further to that, he said it's one of Maddie said it's one of the things that's been bugging me and giving me clear signs that he will be off next season. That obviously, if his long-term plan was centre forward, I think he's off anyway. But I just think Arteta doesn't have anyone he trusts at left wing, and he does trust Aubameyang there. So especially in this system, as I said, with Saka pushing forward, and look, maybe it's a case that once Tierney's back, maybe he plays left back, Saka plays left wing, and Aubameyang goes through the middle. We don't know. I just think at the moment he trusts Aubameyang more at left wing than anyone else. But as I said, from my point of view, I think he's gone.
Yeah, look, Martinelli is the other one who obviously, and he's proven, but he doesn't want to overplay him. So I think Aubameyang, I don't know. I just think if Lacazette goes in the summer, and I think he's probably the first to go, then they're going to do a deal with Aubameyang, because like how the fuck and let's I don't know what our budget is or our transfer budget is and whatnot in the summer, but let's say you got to try and replace Lacazette, Aubameyang, and I don't even know how you go about doing that. Ozil, are we saying he goes or stays?
No, there's not a chance he goes.
Not a chance he goes. So he stays. So you're paying his big wage for another year.
Yeah, 1 more year.
You're not in you might not be in Europa League. You're definitely more chances you're not going to be in Champions League. I just don't know how you replace two players with negotiating like anyone. Let's say Timo Werner, Icardi, like, oh, come over, lads, but we can only pay you 100k a week, and we can give you no Champions League or no Europa League, but we've got the FA Cup. I just don't know how you do it.
I mean, the wages, if them two go, would be, and you've got to factor Mkhitaryan into this, we'll be saving about £500,000 a week. Yeah. So wages are not going to be an issue. Transfer fee probably will be. Wages, we can match teams for wages. We won't want to, but if we absolutely have to, if we wanted someone that strongly, say, as I said, I don't rate Werner, but for the sake of the argument, if Werner became available and there was a few other teams trying to get him, and he said, I'll sign for you if it was $350,000 a week, we could do it. Whether we'd want to is a different story.
Mm-hmm. Fuck, we've gone 2 hours again.
I mean, the questions are done.
Okay, right. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. At @clockend_talk, you can get them on Twitter when we... after the game or something, somebody usually throws them up. Tony, you joining Darren on Friday or something, Manchester City?
I have no idea what's going on. I don't know who's doing what.
Yeah, okay. So there will be a podcast after Manchester City. I know Darren said he's available to record Friday. I won't be available, but anyway, we'll leave it up to you boys. Thanks, Addy.
No problem. No, thank you again for having me.
Anytime, mate. Yeah, and thanks, Tony. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for downloading. And YouTube listeners, we'll just see how we go, because I've got the shits with them cunts at the moment on YouTube. So, okay, thank you. Good night and goodbye. See ya.